But first, we're going to see one more wild example just to like draw this out and make it all the sweeter when we find out what an endgame really is and when it starts. We're going to see an example where the king takes a very active role in the middle of the game. And this position is so famous, I'm sure that you guys can all tell me the moves. But first, let's hear some candidate moves. What would you guys play here for white? What are your options? Yeah, short Timon, absolutely. Well known. I think the game was 91 before I was born. Alright, Chess Guy knows the move too. Alright, you guys know this position, so I'm just going to show it. But this is interesting, right? Because people say we use the king in the endgame, but here's the king. Actually, after king h2, black's not lost. For extra brownie points, who knows the best move for black here? This is frequently portrayed as a steamroll, inevitable loss after king h2, but it's not really true. How can black even hold on here? Some people might be wondering what's the matter. So maybe I'll show that first, because you can only really figure out the first move if you notice what's going on. Now, Timon probably felt quite comfortable. He thought that white's offering a repetition. The reason that we didn't play knight g5 here is because there's a checkmate. So he thought, hey, white has no way to improve the position. But there's a piece left that you can improve, and it's the king. So he played rook c8. This is probably the worst move you could play. And after king g3, he's dead lost. This is basically a Zugzwang. So let's talk a little bit more about what Zugzwang means. No problem, Chess Club. We'll be right back here when you're ready. So let's talk about Zugzwang, right? It's another German word. Actually, this is the same German word I mentioned before. There's Zwischenzug, another famous German word in chess, and Zugzwang. So this is basically like a Zugzwang. I mean, it's not exactly, because if it was, I guess it would be the kind of situation where if black had an extra move, they would be fine. So it's kind of like a Zugzwang. So the idea is that they're going to march the king in. They're going to run all the way to h6. And there's going to be a checkmate on g7. And the reason they can't stop it is because of a variety of tactical threats here. So after king g3, rook e8, king f4, bishop c8, king g5, black just resigned here, because if they take the rook, king h6, there's this unstoppable mate no matter what they do. And the reason they couldn't just play king h7 here is rook takes f7 is pretty bad, just to be really clear. So this is short Timon, where the king does something awesome. And the move count when they first began their march was move 31. So they haven't even made time control yet if they're playing the kind of chess that we do these days in the US. Although I'm actually not sure how it was formatted, but generally you get more time at move 40. So they weren't even there yet, and the king played such an active role, because black could not do anything to make their position better. Their pieces are already kind of on the best squares they have available. Yeah, 66 figured it out, so bishop c8 has to be played, absolutely. So after king h2, you must play bishop c8. This is the only move that survives. Good guess. Because now, if we try the same thing, they take the rook and play king h7. Because there's no rook takes f7 anymore. But definitely this is like a middle game where the king is doing something active. So we can't say it's just positions where the king's doing something cool. Trophy74, thanks so much for the cheer. This is like the most cheering that we've gotten. It's awesome.